So it's now 2024, which means it's a brand new year and another big year for influencer boxing. Well, hopefully it will. 2023 was probably one of the best years for influencer boxing, having a total of approximately 15 events last year. Yes, I counted. From Misfits Boxing, the Kingpin Tournament, Jake Paul's fights, and much more. A lot of new fighters were also introduced to the scene last year and made a name for themselves. It was a really big year for the Misfits Boxing promotion, having 8 events in the span of 10 to 12 months, having the big Prime card in October, the non-pay-per-view cards, etc. They were even able to get out a card almost every month that year. I was even able to get into the scene and discuss certain topics going on in the space. It was a great year for this channel, and thank you guys for all your continuous support. Unless you've been living under a rock, you would know 2023 was the year where KSI would fight 3 times. Starting the year off on Misfits 04, he'd go against FaZe Temper, knocking him out using his new karate style. Misfits 07, Joe Fournier with the elbow knockout, getting no contests. Then the controversial Tommy Fury fight, with Tommy winning by unanimous decision and getting KSI his first loss. Originally last year was planned for KSI and Jake Paul to fight in December of 2023, but unfortunately things never went accordingly negotiation wise. Mainly the main issue was the weight, with KSI wanting the fight to be at 180 pounds whilst Jake wanted the fight to be at 185. This back and forth and disagreements caused JJ to just take that Tommy Fury fight and beat him to prove he's better than Jake without even fighting him, since they couldn't even make it happen in the first place. Of course, now both Jake and KSI have lost to Tommy Fury, which sets them up perfectly to fight now, and they are both right now the 2 best within the influencer boxing space. But now the real question lies: will this fight be able to happen this year itself, 2024, or could it never even happen? Right now I'm not quite sure. Ever since the controversial loss to Tommy, JJ seems to have been taking a break from boxing and focusing on Sidemen, Prime, and his other ventures. And when asked about the Jake fight, he kinda just dismisses it, saying that he's kinda focused on his other ventures right now and wants to take a break from boxing. Jake, on the other hand, is now wanting that fight with KSI more than ever, unless they fight at 185 though. But honestly, I don't think JJ is going to want to fight at that weight again, since he did fight Tommy at 185 and probably wasn't at his best compared to the Temper and Fournier fights. KSI's natural weight is around 175 to 180 and Jake is really 185 to 190. I'd say if they meet somewhere in the middle, like 183 pounds, it would be fair, but again, that's just my personal suggestion. However, don't really think JJ is really interested in the Jake fight anymore, since in his mind he felt like he already beat Tommy and sees no need to fight Jake now since he beat the person that beat Jake. But if I'm being honest, I think this fight is still a 50-50 fight, as both these guys are at their best right now. In the Nate Diaz and the recent Andre August fight, Jake has recruited a new team that has improved his skills and flaws, all in which were shown in both of his fights. Most particularly, the Andre August knockout was pretty impressive, and I know Andre August wasn't the best opponent, but Jake showed massive improvements in that fight with his footwork, technique, and pacing. I think he's a way better fighter than even the Jake that fought Tommy. And in my opinion, I feel like Jake would even beat Tommy by knockout or decision if they were to rematch anytime soon. So I think it would be dumb to not make the fight between KSI and Jake happen this year and just hold it off until these guys are out of their prime. Kinda like what happened with Mike Tyson vs Roy Jones Jr. and to an extent Floyd Mayweather vs Manny Pacquiao. The hype for this fight has already been dying since last year with the whole weight negotiation problems and KSI just fighting Fury instead. For KSI, he needs this fight to officially cement his legacy, but honestly just don't see this fight happening anymore, which is a sad truth. But let's say if the Jake vs KSI fight never happens, what's next for KSI's boxing career? Well, KSI, he hasn't officially retired from boxing and has said that he'll be doing bigger fights every now and then. Fights like Conor McGregor, Jorge Masvidal, or even some other pro MMA fighters or boxers. Some people are even pushing for the KSI vs Slim fight, since Slim came off an impressive win against Saul Poppy on the Prime card, and Slim is right now one of the top dogs right now in the scene behind KSI and Jake Paul. Don't get me wrong, those fights could all sell well pay-per-view wise, but storyline wise the KSI vs Jake Paul fight makes the most sense, and more people just want to see that fight as it's been building up for over 5 years. I think KSI vs Jake would do way more pay-per-views than those other fights because the hype has been spewed for the last 5 years and people just want to see that fight more. KSI's former coach and pro boxer Vidal Riley even made a video on it saying that the KSI vs Jake Paul fight not happening could be the death and downfall of influencer boxing, and I kinda have to agree somewhat. This is the perfect time to have the fight. These guys are at their best right now, both have had close fights with Tommy Fury, and are arguably the 2 top dogs within the scene. Otherwise, people will just eventually stop watching and caring about YouTube boxing altogether. The only way to keep it going is to make the fights the fans want. This is also a big problem that's happening in the pro boxing scene too. But again, it's all up to JJ if he wants to fight Jake or not, but it would be pretty dumb not to make that fight ASAP. Jake right now is on a different wave, aspiring to be a world champion and doing all these other things like helping women's boxing and going on a boxing world tour this year. Fighting KSI is like a side quest for him now in his eyes, but I do feel like deep down he still wants that fight, and right now is frankly wanting it more. But right now, KSI seems to be enjoying life and taking a break right now. I mean, the dude fought like 3 times last year, so it's understandable if he wants to take a break from all that this year. So I don't really know if this fight will happen this year, but it's gotta happen either way or else the scene will start to die out slowly. But again, it's all up to these guys if they want to agree on things and just get the contract signed and deals done. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think KSI vs Jake will finally happen in 2024? Or are we just going to be left waiting for another 5 years? As the great Wade Plemons once said, I don't have those answers, but guess we'll find out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy New Year, and I hope to get a lot more videos out this year. I have some really big videos planned that I want to get out in these next few months, so please stay tuned and be sure to, as always, like, subscribe, and turn on the bell to never miss out on new videos. Also, I would like to apologize for my voice in this video. I'm currently recovering from a cold, so please bear with me. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Big things on the horizon for this channel, and I am Mega Shadow, signing out. Peace.